Hello again. I thought I would talk about something a bit different today, a subject about which viewers may not be aware. This relates to Catholic practices about dead bodies and bits of bodies. Before going any further, I might mention that this is not an anti-Catholic diatribe. Although when she was little I took my daughter to a Methodist Sunday school and she belonged to Girls' Brigade and so on. When she was 10 I asked if she'd like to go to another church for a change. She was keen, so we attended Mass at a very high Anglican place. It was all but indistinguishable from a Catholic church. Prayers for the Pope, Hail Marys, the full works as you might put it. She took to it and was trained to be an acolyte, and every Sunday she'd be carrying candles and crosses and so on as she processed into church behind the priest. We used to also attend Mass at a Catholic church as well from time to time. Anyway, I digress. I was writing a few years ago about the unburied dead, that is to say, bodies and bits of bodies which are still above ground and on view. There are more of these than you would guess in England, actually. That is to say, there's quite a few places you can see dead bodies and bits of dead bodies. The thumbnail to this video, to give one example, shows a charnel house in London's Fleet Street. This was a place where decayed corpses and skeletons were stored. Sometimes when digging a grave, an old skeleton or body would be uncovered, and the charnel house was a place to store these old bones. The one in the photograph is at St Bride's Church, and it's quite curious to see all those stacks of leg bones and piles of human skulls. I recommend a visit for those that are interested in the macabre. There are two other charnel houses in London, by the way, that you can visit. One is in Whitechapel and the other Greenwich. The Catholics in particular are very keen on keeping human remains above ground. In Westminster Cathedral there is a glass coffin, a bit like the kind of thing one imagines Sleeping Beauty to have been laid in. In this coffin is St John Southworth. He was an English priest who was hanged, drawn and quartered at Tyburn in 1654 for celebrating the Catholic Mass in defiance of the law. The Spanish ambassador retrieved the bits of his body and arranged for them to be parboiled in order to preserve them. In 1927 his grave containing the preserved corpse was rediscovered, and so the corpse was dug up and taken back to London. It now lies in that glass coffin, dressed in the robes of a priest for all to see. Anybody visiting Westminster Cathedral really ought to take a look at it. Catholics believe that praying near the body of a saint in that way can result in his interceding with Our Lady and so on. The convent near Tyburn, which was a gallows on the site of modern-day Marble Arch, can be visited, and there too there's some gruesome bits of various martyrs who were executed at Tyburn for their faith. Fingers, teeth and other bodily parts are on display. Now comes the really weird bit, which I could not at first believe when I learned about it and had to ring the Cardinal's office in London to confirm. The story I heard was that every single altar in every Catholic church had to have, by canonical law, bits of two dead people hidden inside it. This sounded like one of those mad anti-Catholic stories that people used to circulate to show how primitive and superstitious Catholics were, in contrast to the kind of blunt and sensible people who worshipped in the Church of England. I took the trouble to ring the Cardinal's office in Westminster and spoke to a woman who at once confirmed that this was true. She seemed surprised that anybody would find it odd, but I certainly did. The 1983 Code of Canon Law for the Catholic Church states that Canon 1237, The ancient tradition of placing relics of martyrs or other saints under a fixed altar is to be preserved according to the norms given in the liturgical books. And the norms for the dedication of an altar are that relics for deposition should be of such a size that they can be recognised as parts of human bodies. Hence, enclosing excessively small relics of one or several saints is to be avoided. There you have it. Every Catholic church in the world has bits of human bodies hidden away inside the altar. I was pretty surprised by this and just thought that viewers might find it of interest.